Hello there, welcome to Crosstalk on Enterprise TV, where we talk, or more like tackle, the most pressing policy debates shaping Nigeria. Today, we focus on the controversial resolution from the House of Representatives. And what is that? They've now told the Nigerian Communications Commission to direct internet service providers to block access to all pornographic websites in the country. Yes, adult movies no longer allowed in the country, according to House of Reps. This move, championed by Honorable Dalatu Shehu Tafoki, is rooted in concerns over the moral, the psychological, and societal effects of pornography, with, argument that it promotes adultery, it promotes addiction and harmful social behaviors. Supporters say that as a religious nation, Nigeria has a duty to uphold decency and protect citizens from explicit content. But critics question whether such a ban infringes on individual freedoms, digital rights, and the practical enforceability of such restrictions in an era of VPNs and global internet access. So, would this be an overreach of government power or a necessary step in preserving societal values? Let's get talking today. We're getting into a very serious conversation on censorship, on morality and digital rights in Nigeria. Is banning porn websites the right move, or should the focus be on education and personal responsibility? Let's get talking. Kingsley Bass is my name. I'm joined by two patriotic gentlemen. One was a former broadcaster and head of programs at Reading 93.7 Port Harcourt, and now a social commentator. Thank you so much for joining me, LD. How are you doing today?
Great, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, appreciate that. A political commentator, Benga Yonuga Paul, a former broadcast journalist himself, joins me as well today. Benga, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Good day, Nigeria. The good day is.
All right. Let's get to the conversation, shall we? Okay. So thoughts for and thoughts against. Gentlemen, we're talking, pornography in the country. Should this be allowed to stand? Should this not be allowed to stand? I'd like to get your thoughts first. LD, how do you feel about this?
Is that for me?
Yes, for you, please.
Oh, okay. Now, my thoughts on this whole thing, when I heard that story, the first thing that came to my mind is, huge misplacement of priorities. Is pornography a problem in Nigeria? What problem to deal with? We have out-of-school children, we have terrorism, the economy has hit the rocks, high prices of... We're basically a struggling country at the moment. We barely have our heads above the water, and somebody's worrying about pornography. How many people can afford to buy the data to stream and watch pornography? You know what I mean? So it's not what Nigerians need to worry about. We have much bigger problems than that. And it goes to show that these people really, I don't know, are they really there to serve? Do they really have a connection? It seems like there's a disconnect somewhere, because they seem to have totally no idea what people need. That's on the first hand. Secondly, it's not whether I like to watch porn or not, but I'm an adult. And if I so desire, I should have the right to watch pornography if I want to. You know what I mean? It's well within my rights to watch it if I want to. Now, if some people think that's immoral, that's their problem. I don't even necessarily have to agree with it. But I do agree with every individual's rights to view it, as long as you're not a minor. Now, I don't agree that minors should be exposed to such things, because it's meant for adults. But for any adult, I think the decision should be up to me and you and any other adult to decide whether or not they want to view such material.
So
another thing is,
yes.
I sense a kind of a religious undertone here. Now, why am I saying this? You know, we have certain groups of people who religion in various ways, especially for political gains. You know, and if you look at the part of the country where this person who brought this thing up is from, you can see that, you know, for example, I've been to other countries. I've been to countries where, like, if you go to the UAE, for example, you can't watch porn there. Those sites are actually blocked. Any country where porn is blocked, there's one common denominator. Would you like to know what that is?
Tell me.
The common denominator in any country where porn is blocked on the internet is that they are Islamic countries. And then you ask yourself, is this a way of trying to sneak in, you know, a certain type of law? Is it? Because when you look at it, that's the common denominator. And, you know, Nigerians, honestly, we have this problem with religion where the Christians want to be more Christian than the Pope, and the Muslims want to be more Muslim than Saudi Arabia, which we cannot possibly be. And we end up running around in circles and never really getting anything done. Whether people watch pornography or not is not important. And how on earth could that be the reason why people commit adultery? People have been committing adultery since the biblical days. So with or without pornography, anybody who wants to do that will still do it.
All right, let me quickly.
And another thing is, it could be just a distraction.
Let me quickly turn to Benga and get Benga's thoughts on this. Benga, do you agree with him?
Well, I agree with the first part of his statement that in order of priorities, pornography banning is not the main priority that our lawmakers should be concerned about in order of priorities. So, that much I agree with him. But saying that we have a right to view whatever we want, I think for every right that every citizens enjoy, there are also obligations that comes with it. And sometimes limitation of certain rights is not denial of the citizens' ability to enjoy. It is also a protection of the larger society. So if a part of the body is getting cancerous and you need to cut off that part of the body to save the larger part of the body, well, you might say, oh, it is my right. I need to keep this part of the body has a right to be kept here. But, you know, keeping it here causes the cancer to spread to other parts of the body. And for that reason, I don't agree that it's a right. Yes, I also understand the aspect of religious, because truly most Islamic nations ban pornography. But North Korea is not an Islamic nation, and they don't even have access to internet at all. A lot of sites are also banned in China, you know, by the government. For whatever reasons, they are classifying those sites on. But you see, if they did not ban those sites in many of those countries, their culture, their way of life would have been eroded by this westernization that is taking over the world and is turning men and women into a mad frenzy that we don't want. I mean, we were bantering before we came live that I'm a shameless polygamist, and you know about how African culture is being given way. You see, all these, let me not use the word mad people from the Western nation, they want to tell you to allow gay and lesbians to have equal right to show forth their madness in front of the whole world, you know. Whereas you and I know that those of us who commit adultery normally with normal people, as in a man committing normal adultery with normal woman, we don't show it in the front of people. We do it codedly, we do it secretly. But so if you look at it from that perspective, I am in support of the ban. I only know, but I'm in support of it all the same. I know it will not work. I know it will only open shop for a lot of people who will take advantage of it. You know, if you give police the opportunity now, they'll be using it as an excuse to be searching your phone, and then they'll be arresting people and saying we found pornography on your phone. So you've opened shop for them. Then you've opened shop for those who use VPN, and through that VPN, other infrastructure of your organization can be ripped into. You've opened shop. So, but nonetheless, I still support it, because you see, constant vigilance is the price to pay for freedom. If you see all those European countries that were opening their doors anyhow for people for migrants to just flush in, you see the crime rate in many of those countries skyrocketing. But the few European countries that closed their door, that said we are self-sufficient, we don't care what the European Parliament says, we are keeping our doors closed to foreigners. Go and check their countries. They are as peaceful as ever. Check many of those Scandinavian countries, for example. The percentage of their non-migrants is like 2%, yet they have peace. So for me, based on that whole view, I support our lawmakers in banning pornography, even though it will affect me too as a person, you know.
You consume pornographic sites.
Also,
you use them.
No, you don't have to use them. See, I'm an avid researcher. I research all the time. I'm on Tinder even as I speak to you.
It's a different thing if you research, but
you see, when this law comes into force, when this law comes into force,
yes.
And police searches your phone and they see you are on Tinder, it is pornography. You get to pay the last fine. You and I know how the Nigerian police works now.
Let me go back to him. You have a right of reply, please. What do you have to say?
I was about to say, look, first of all, if there's going to be a huge problem with the police, we all know how they act. Imagine, what does the Nigerian police, the average policeman that you meet on the street, what does he know about what porn is? You know what I mean? He could see a picture of a female. It could even be a family member. It could be your wife, could be your girlfriend, and he could use that and say, hey, that's pornography.
Yeah.
Another thing is, you know, if you're saying the ban is okay, if you're okay with it, now, you know, they start by taking an inch, and then they take another inch. Before you know what's happening, a mile is gone. Now, if they start by doing this, where will it end? It probably won't end with just this. Now, I'm saying this because I feel it's being spearheaded by some religious fanatics, not even for the sake of religion, but for the sake of weaponizing religion to gain political power. That's what I'm saying here. Now, if, for instance, a minor is to view porn, I think that would be wrong. And it's up to parents to keep their kids, their minors in their custody in check. But for full-grown adults like you and I mean, we know our left from right. And I feel we should be able to view such material if we want to.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Yeah, just before we get back to Benga, just 1 second before we come back to you, so that you can respond very quickly. I have just one question. You know, I mean, the intention, I suppose, of this legislation would be not legislation really. It's just you know, a direct order to the Nigerian Communications Commission to ban this. The intention, I suppose, would be, you know, to include those let me say, innocent sites you go to. Say, for example, you're watching a football game and there's this pop-up thing that comes and it's showing pornography, leads you to that website. If you even if you mistakenly click that, you're going to be viewing things.
Sometimes you don't even need to click. Yeah. It will find a way to click itself.
Exactly. So don't you think, sticking with you now before I get back to Benga, don't you think this is a good course, right, for this to be banned completely so we don't have such things happening?
Like I said, where does it end? That's the problem. Okay, you ban this, what's next? You see where I'm going with this?
We'll cross every river when we get to it.
I don't think you can't you see, you can't compartmentalize such things. You know that once you give this room for this, something else is going to put in that you really didn't anticipate or bargain for.
All right.
That's what I'm trying to say here.
Okay, let's go to Benga quickly. Yes.
First and foremost, I believe that the decision is to protect the sanctity of the society, because earlier on in LD's opening statement, he talked about how adultery has been with us since the beginning of mankind, which is no doubt the truth. But you and I can attest to the fact that the rate or how rampant this culture of shamelessness, adultery, and the rest keeps growing, especially in our African Nigerian society, increases.
It's not because of porn, bro.
No, it's not because of porn. They are also part of causative factors. I will tell you how. So, for example, there was a time I was on a WhatsApp group. A friend added me to the WhatsApp group innocently. And I didn't know that it was a WhatsApp group where every morning they greet themselves by sending pornographic content to themselves. And because I'm in over 400 WhatsApp groups, so due to my various activities, I hardly open some WhatsApp group to read. So it may take a month before I have time to read everything on a particular group, especially if that group is not making me money or is not bringing me business. Only to discover that about maybe 3 weeks, I just discovered that one of my children was taking my phone and is always smiling when going through my phone, and I'm like, what is this one finding funny on my phone? Then I saw the content. I was angry because I didn't know how it got there in the first place. I mean, if my wife had caught me, it would have caused a lot of trouble for me, because I would have to explain what I don't know how it got there. It took me 2 weeks before I eventually found, and as at that time, I didn't put my data in the one that would not allow auto download. So everything that is sent to me auto downloads to the phone. It took 2 weeks before I could trace it back to the WhatsApp group that it was being sent. And that's how I had to remove myself gradually from that WhatsApp group, delete all their content, and then I now set my image download and all the rest to download only the one that I choose, not auto download. And you see, there are a lot of incidences like this that children are exposed to unwittingly, not that the parents are not careful enough, not that, So if the lawmakers gives a directive to MCC to ban this thing, it will not kill us. It is not food, though. It does not affect the price of Gary. So it will, and you see, if there is no market for something, those who are perpetuating that thing, they will reduce, because it is only when there is a consumer that the sellers will produce. When you told me about this program, so I quickly went and checked on some porn site, on some major porn site, to see activities and see what are the things going on that may also add to my argument on the show. What I discovered is that a lot of Nigerians now, young girls, young boys, are now in full-time pornography business. I wrote some of their names down. I can't be talking about it so that it would look as if I'm advertising them.
Please don't. So we don't have Nigerians going to search for.
But a lot of young Nigerians are now taking not from the perspective of passive watcher. Now, before in the early 2000s, it's only Oyinbos that you will see when you log on to. But now, a whole gamut of pages, this website dedicated to Nigerian content.
Right.
And you see, those people live with us. Their children go to the same school with our children. There is no way that these things is a cancer that needs to be cut off. Okay. And that is why there is support before the cancer metastasizes and affect the whole of the society. Let it be cut off. I understand that if you give them an inch, they want to take a mile. But you see, Nigerians too are not that daft. When the time comes, they always test us with some of these laws, and once they see the reaction of the nation, and for me on this one, I don't fault them. I agree that it should be banned, even though on the order of our priority, it should not be top on the list.
Very quickly, we've got to go now, gentlemen. You have just 30 seconds to give your final thoughts. Benga, I could just say that you've given your final thought already, but for the purpose of fairness, equity, right? I'll just go to him first and say your final thoughts. Benga has made his point for what do you say? Should this ban still continue? Yes, that's for you. Let's go, please.
Okay, Benga, let me add to what you said, right?
Yes.
To be honest with you, right, the first time I saw porn, do you know where I saw it?
Where?
I saw it in my parents' bedroom. I'm not joking. My brother found a video cassette they had. Now, married couples sometimes use porn to spice up their sex life. That's what my parents were doing with it. And to my knowledge, my father never committed adultery. That's one thing about him. He never stepped out of his marriage. My parents had a happy marriage until they died. Even though they had porn in their bedroom, I can attest to that. Because the first time I saw it, that's where I saw it. And as kids, we would sneak in, watch it when they go out, and then quickly put it back before they go back.
In those days of VHS, when we passed lights,
so we would have to rewind. We would have to rewind the cassette to the place where we found it. And then luckily we were not in Nigeria then, so there was no NEPA. I mean, if that was in Nigeria, imagine if you put it in the VCR and then the power goes off.
So you've not been killed like us.
Porn is the least of our problems. That's what I'm trying to say here. We have many bigger issues. Nobody forces you to watch porn. For you to view porn is a very deliberate act. I would have to actually deliberately go to a website where I'll see porn.
All right.
Now, these lawmakers should be concerned with other things. We have far more pressing issues. The price of rice or gari at the end of the day. So we should be focusing on the things that matter more. That's my take on this whole thing.
All right, that was way more than 30 seconds. Benga, you have 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, we'll have a talk about
I'll simply say, if they don't ban porn, how would you know that they are working? Shikina.
Okay.
I feel you, bro.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation today. We'll be talking about the ban on pornographic sites by members of the House of Representatives. It was interesting when there was a voice vote for that on the floor of the House just days back. How some lawmakers voted against the ban, saying nay. Yet the Speaker said, no, we're banning this. And so we'll see what happens. This is a serious business, regardless whether or not they pull through with this. We'll see to what steps the Nigerian Communications Commission will take next. Well, that's been crosstalk today. I've been joined virtually by two very patriotic gentlemen. One former head of programs at Rhythm 93.7 Port Harcourt, and now a social commentator. I dare say is a very senior colleague. Daudi, thank you so much for being on the show today. Yeah.
Welcome, anytime.
All right, great, fantastic. For a moment, I was going to say you don't like compliments, do you? But yes, political commentator Benga Yonuga, thank you too for joining me.
Thank you for having me with that. No, this time around.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. That's been Crosstalk. Kingsley Bass is my name. Until next time, please be safe and keep watching Enterprise TV. Bye for now.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.